All right. So Jojo, at this point, you have interviewed your client. You know her stress is rooting from not being able to conceive for 12 plus months, let's just say. She's got she's never been pregnant. She's got a history of irregular periods and some kind of disconnect to feeling like she's connected to her body. So she is just struggling to get in fully and sink in and understand her cycles and just how this all kind of works, right? As birth workers, we kind of know so much about this process that we're like, oh yeah, it's common knowledge, but we have to take that step back and know that I don't want to say average Jane, but most women who are experiencing conception or pregnancy for the first time don't have, they don't know what basal body temperatures are and how your cycle, flows and the different phases and things like that. So as we're taking that step back, so we know all of this now, right, about your client. She is comfy on the table. She looks very comfy on the table. And you are going to just start by just making sure she's comfy, guiding her for a few belly breaths, having her center herself.
Can we do the box breath? Box breath. Yeah. Okay, so box breath. Is how you do breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3. Okay. Again. Breathe in.
I can't hear anything.
2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Out. 3, 4. Can you see the table? Okay.
Okay, Jojo, if you can speak up a little tiny bit, or maybe bring the computer maybe closer. I know we're trying to see you, but maybe just like obnoxiously be louder than you normally would.
Okay. Not your soothing
And then
voice.
we'll all mute ourselves so that there's no background noise while you're talking. All right, so you did the box breath. Beautiful. That's definitely a great grounding and centering breath. So now you're going to just simply begin your energy flow and start setting your intentions and speak them aloud for the session by giving her some permission statements. So inviting her to breathe naturally and give her permission to relax, give her permission to be here right now, give her permission to receive, maybe to release what doesn't serve her, just kind of whatever comes up. And you would start, more at the top of the head for this.
I invite you to be present for the session today. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? I invite you to let go of all tension, worries, fears that you may be holding. I invite you to let go of any insecurities and fear that you have around your fertility. And envision yourself being surrounded by healing white light. Letting go of all tension that you're holding. You can know this is a safe space. And I invite you to connect to your energy and being safe. Sorry for
Okay, I have crying kids downstairs. All right. So yes, beautiful. Just yeah, so you guys see like just some intention statements, getting them comfortable, giving themselves permission to be fully in the moment, releasing anything that, may not serve them. So at that point, you would start the energy flow as you're doing it on the crown chakra, and then spend about 2 minutes on each position. So you can make your way again with your manual. You could see the hand positions, the crown, the third eye. You could do that on the side of the head or on top, the throat, your heart. What I like to do is kind of cut the body in half, if that makes sense. So you start with the upper chakras down to the heart. And in my setup, I sit down while I'm doing those because if I'm not comfortable, then like it gets a little awkward, right? So keeping my posture up and being able to do those hand placements while I'm seated gives us, an opportunity to just focus on those top three chakras. And then getting into the heart space, that's kind of your midpoint, right? So then at that point, you can um, kind of pause and do some tapping or do those power and peace points. And again, this is optional, but if you want to incorporate these other modalities into the session, this is a good stop point to do so. Also, while you're sitting on each of those areas, you can add some guided imagery, incorporate the colors that are connected to those chakras. So I always start with, visualizing a ball of light in whatever color it is, violet, blue, green, or a twinkling light beginning to expand. That as it does, it begins to clear and it begins to activate those qualities of the chakras. So again, you have 2 minutes on each of those points. So I wouldn't be talking the full 2 minutes on them, but maybe, just an intro to them and then allow yourself to just hold that energy there for the remainder. I think I mentioned this in last class, but there are Reiki timer um, music on YouTube. So they're super helpful to have in the background because they're like calming background noise, but they're basically your time clock so that you're not staring at the clock, waiting, counting down 2 minutes, where your attention can be other places. So as you can see, Jojo is, just spending some time on those upper chakras right now. And there's three main points that I always, again, when I'm doing the guided meditation, when I'm doing the visualization, is cleansing, balancing, and activating. So you can interchange those words with others, release and igniting or expanding, or however, whatever resonates with you guys for them, and you can interchange them throughout, or keep them the same, whatever works. But that's usually the three intentions I have for each chakra. Let's get rid of and clear and cleanse everything that doesn't belong there. Let's balance the energies that do and activate the, the positive energies within them. So just for example, your throat chakra is clearing any blockages regarding your communication and balancing the energies so that your truest expression can be activated. So if you go in with those three intentions for each chakra, that visualization, scripting, I guess you can say, is a little bit easier to come up with. And again, the exact wording that you use can interchange, but the intentions can remain the same. And then you can just add in some empowering command, subconscious language in there. Again, just using the throat chakra as an example, you can say that, you are worth You are worthy of communicating your needs. You are deserving of receiving the help and support that you're seeking, and make like reaffirming all of the things that maybe came up in the interview that they had insecurities about, or using that forward language, right? Obviously, like, not let's not worry, but let's feel at peace, shifting those words around, because I'm sure in that interview their feelings are going to be a lot of that that what's the wording, like negative tonality, right? They're going to say that I have a lot of pain, but and I don't want this and I don't want that. So that's where you'll shift those areas for them. Does that make sense? Okay. And like I said, Jojo and Lori are both Reiki practitioners already, so she is just simply going through each of the positions, holding space while she's on each. So Jojo, once you feel ready, let me know and we can introduce some tapping around her stress surrounding fertility.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, great. So there's two ways you can introduce tapping to a situation or to a session. And I say situation because if you go to the early labor scenario, you'll notice it's a little bit different, because I don't know anyone in early labor that's going to be willing and ready to just lay on a table and take it, if that makes sense, right? They're going to be needing to be really involved with the healing. They're going to need to be upright, moving around, most likely because they're going to be experiencing contractions. So my point is, if it is a fertility session or something where it's more of a relaxation, more of a formally structured session, then I would say you can tap on your client, right? So that they're not too out of that zone, out of that trance. You as the practitioner, knowing the points, you can just gently repeat the affirmations as you tap on those points. If they wanted to repeat them, they absolutely can. Another way, if the client is really committed to, learning this tool so that they can use it on their own, or if it's, again, in one of those scenarios where they're feeling anxious at that moment and just need some support, or they're in a situation like they're having contractions and ready to go into labor, then you want them to be the ones actually physically tapping on the points. So you would just guide them and have them repeat after you, and you would be that teacher. You would be doing it, but they would be the ones physically tapping on themselves. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we do the first scenario where the practitioner taps?
Yes, that's what I was gonna have you do.
Yay.
I don't have the affirmation.
It's okay, I'll guide you.
Okay.
We're good. All right, so, and Jojo, where you're standing is probably the perfect spot. But because we're watching you, but because obviously most of the time you're not being recorded doing this. Again, you could be seated like at the top of her head, or maybe like the side up by the top of her, body, and doing this, because you want to make sure you're comfortable as well. So, or you could be standing, whatever, again, is most comfortable for you. So what you'll be doing is, Jojo, initially you'll be taking her, I can't tell right from left hand, I'm thinking. The one closest to you? Left, yeah, there we go. You'll be taking her left hand and just simply tapping on the outside of her pinky, like the pinky side, right here. So you'll just be tapping on that for her. Use a couple fingers. And you'll be saying, even though there's some stressful feelings around fertility or stressful feelings around conception, I completely and deeply love and accept myself. And you'll have her repeat that to you.
Okay, I'm going to repeat an affirmation. Once I'm done, I'll have you repeat that. Oh, one more time, Nicole.
All right, yes. So let's keep it quick. Keep it quick and simple. So even though I'm feeling stress around fertility, I completely love and accept myself.
Even though I'm feeling stress around fertility, I completely love and accept myself. Even though I have stress around my fertility, I love and accept myself.
Even though I have stress around my fertility, I love and accept myself.
One more time.
Even though I have stress around fertility, I completely accept and love myself.
Beautiful. So then you would go to her eyebrow. So you gently put her hand down. And then you would just begin at her eyebrow, tapping with maybe one finger, and say this stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
And have her repeat it.
The stress around fertility.
You would go to the side of her eye, say the same thing.
The stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
Under her eye, same thing.
Stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
Under her nose, same thing.
The stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
Chin, same thing.
The stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
Collarbone, same thing.
The stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
And then under her arm, her bra strap. Yeah.
Yeah, there.
The stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
Perfect. And then the top of her head. One more time. Stress around fertility.
The stress around fertility.
Yeah, the stress around fertility.
Okay, so now this time as you go through her points, you're gonna start shifting that perception. So you're gonna go through them again, and you're going to say, maybe it doesn't have to be stressful. And for the simplicity purposes, just say that throughout all of the points.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Yes. Oh, nope, start at the eyebrow. You only do the hand in the very beginning.
Okay.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Side of the eye.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Under the eye.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Under the nose.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Chin.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Collarbone.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Under the arm.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Top of the head.
Yeah. Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Maybe this doesn't have to be stressful.
Beautiful. And then the last, you would start back on the eyebrow point and you can say, fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Side of the eye.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Under the eye.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Under the nose.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Under the chin or chin.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Collarbone.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
Under the arm.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
And top of the head.
Fertility can be fun.
Fertility can be fun.
All right.
Can we do one side? We don't do the other side?
You could, but it doesn't, you don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It works on both sides or either. So I kept it really, really simple just for, the sake of this practice, but you can say something different at each point if you feel that you need to get different things out of there. But the point is that you could notice like the first round, you are acknowledging the feeling that they have, right? That stress. The second round, you are putting the potential of a shift out there. And then finally, you're doing in a positive state where, it's not stressful, it's fun. So Lori, did you feel a shift as she was doing that?
Yes, I did. That's what I was just telling her.
She did.
Yeah, it was really in my lower, like the solar plexus,
Mm-hmm.
like vibrating.
Not sacral?
Is that
You were
sacral?
pointing here.
Yes, that's where I
Sacral?
felt it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In her sacral, she felt a shift.
Oh, well, there you go.
It worked.
It worked. and did you feel it here?
I
Because
felt
this is
heat.
where I'm feeling everything
Yes.
is here
Yes.
on this side.
So I also feel like energy
Mm-hmm.
moving down
Okay.
this way, which is
Okay.
fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So, yeah, just to stress the point that it can be that simple. Your tapping doesn't have to be super intricate. It absolutely can be. In that resource library, there's, I think, 2 or 3 examples of tapping. So you can see how I, kind of what words I say and how I say them. And then feel free to write your own scripts if that's more comfortable, or just kind of go off of what feels good.
When I wrote for today, I wrote a little treatment for my husband.
Perfect.
That's exactly what I did. You had really great examples, and then I just more took the idea.
Took what resonated, right?
Yeah, and it was the same. I just wrote acknowledge potential shift and positive state next to each section, but I understood that was what we were accomplishing through the 3 rounds of it.
Perfect. Yeah, and that's probably what you guys are gonna have to do for the first few, sessions that you have. After you get the information, the intake, you can 100% script them out, outline them out. Just know that you don't have to. What I don't want is that you guys write out this treatment outline, and then as you go through the treatment, something different flourishes from it, and then you're like, man, I didn't stick to the treatment outline, because it doesn't have to be that way, right? If your intuition is guiding you somewhere else, that is exactly what it should be doing. But if it makes you feel better for, obviously for your confidence and beginning to do this, absolutely go ahead and do those outlines, or print these out and go off of them, and things like that. Okay, so just for the sake of time, because we're nearing the hour, I'm gonna kind of skip over the additional Reiki positions, because I think we've done, we have a whole class back on that if you guys need to really, review the actual positions. But you would do the same thing as you do with the top. You would just use that subconscious language. You would use that imagery as you're over each of the lower points. And then I love using the breath work when you are over the lower chakras, because that is where obviously like your belly breath is where the air flows. So when you're using them, when you're over the solar plexus, when you're over the sacral, when you're over the root, and even the heart, you know, breathing into heart center can be super effective. But really creating that release work from when you were in your lower chakras. So I would invite her to release through sound, release through movement when you get down there. And that also breaks up, again, the session a little bit. So it's not just an energy healing session. So after you would go through all of the points and all of the techniques, what I always do is do like a full body scan. And Jojo and Lori, since you guys are, you know, existing practitioners, you can let me know. But I kind of put my hands on the top of, you know, the head, and just kind of what I call like, how do I put it? Like grabbing the energy. So like I'll feel if there's any energy still like lingering up there, and then I'll just start pulling it down. So I'll usually start on one of the sides of the body and grab the energy from the top of the head and just scan the full body as I'm like with the intention of releasing everything that's still like lingering. And as I do that, I feel if there's any more like dense areas, or if as I'm going over the body, something tells me, okay, this area still needs a little bit more attention, and I go back to that. So once you go through all of the formal chakra points, I just, yeah, exactly what Jojo's doing, just kind of scan over everything. And if something's calling to you, like, okay, her solar plexus needs a little bit more attention, then maybe I'll spend another minute or so on that solar plexus. And then I'll just scan over it again, seeing if what I feel is still there. And then maybe I'll do some sound work or breath work until you're comfortable that everything is released. Now, you know, again, one session is not a magic pill. So we're not trying to like completely fix all of their, you know, life's traumas with one session, but just for you to feel comfortable that they're in a good space. And then at the end, like we learned in class 2, you would seal the energy up at the bottoms of their feet. You would, I kind of put my hands in prayer position, bow, and say thank you to the client, thank you to the universe, thank you to my higher self. And then you want to make sure you're breaking the energy so the flow is, you know, broken. And then you would just guide her in her final deep breaths to return back into the physical space. So you would just simply begin to have her wiggle her toes, move her fingers, gently open her eyes, and just come back into the room. And at that point, I would always ask, you know, how are you feeling? Make sure she doesn't get up too quickly, offer a glass of water. At this point, you can give her a PowerPoint or a peace point to, you know, as like a parting gift. So just that, because right now, remember what I said, there's 3 important ways to invoke those points, and the best one is when they're feeling it. So at the end of their session, they should be very relaxed or feeling really empowered. So that'd be the perfect time to do the point. If they're still feeling anxious or just not in a place where it's real time, I guess you could say, you could still use that script to invoke a memory or make it stronger. And then you just always want to make sure that you're reminding them that there can be some release symptoms, some physical release. They can be emotionally releasing, and make sure that, you know, she stays hydrated, and that helps with, you know, the release of toxins and everything.
You have that here.
Yes.
And as you can see, Jojo and Lori are kind of analyzing the session. So that usually just happens organically, where as you're asking the client how they're feeling, or, you know, how it was, they're going to start to tell you, well, I felt it here. Oh, well, I felt, and then most of the time you're going to be like, yeah, I felt that too. Or, yeah, I noticed you had some blockages up here. And you'll just organically create that dialogue at the end. And it's usually like reassuring to both you and the client.
What does a blockage feel like?
So I actually had a blockage, and that's what
We have that.
what Jojo and I were talking about right now.
Can Lori share? So
Yes,
we
absolutely.
okay.
So
You want to get it? Or?
So it's in the beak. So when we first started the session, it felt like a little pinch. And for me, that's how I know I have a block, because I feel a pinch. And so after she closed the session, the pinch went from down here where my ovary is to the back. And so that's why I was like, oh my God, it shifted. So that's what it felt like for me. Everyone's different, but I know that if I feel a pinch, that's a block for me. So it did shift a little bit from.
And I felt a lot of, you know, stuff here. So.
Yeah, so now it's really hard to answer that question.
We'll see until next time.
Everyone experiences energy differently. So you may feel that your hands get hotter when you're over a certain area, or they may start to tingle, or you just may get this indication that something doesn't feel right when you're on this point. In the beginning, that's what you would kind of go for. And if things start to come up where you're like, am I just making this up? Like, why do I think her knee needs more work? Like, just lean into that and go, because that's your intuition, and that's the muscle that is opening when you are attuned to these energies. So it's not just like you're making this up, but you are being guided by the energy that says, okay, something's off. So once you start doing this, you'll notice what the feeling is for you when you notice a block. For me, it's a heat, but it's more of a dense feeling. Like I just feel like it's consumed and it's not flowing when my hands are over a certain area.
So I have a question. When we were at the midpoint, and you said to cut the body in half, and after the tapping, at that point, we do the Reiki hand positions, starting from the halfway point, or going back to the crown chakra and then going down again?
Whatever feels good, but I would just continue them. I wouldn't start over.
Okay, that was my question. Okay.
Yeah, and by halfway point, I would say whatever feels best to you. The heart center, it could be done with the uppers or with the lowers, or both. So you can do the uppers down to the heart, pause there, and then start back at the heart again, and then go down. Because the heart is that midpoint, it's that center, it's that all expansiveness, and there's so much that, that love overpours up and down. So that's why I do it that point, so that I'm not doing all energy work and then the other modalities. I'm literally incorporating them in. However, if you guys are not comfortable stopping, you can 100% do a full Reiki position, top to bottom, and then do the tapping after. Or I think in one of the examples that I recorded, I started with tapping and then did the energy flow.
Okay.
So there's no right or wrong, there's options. But that was just kind of, I'm trying to give you guys the, in level 2, we'll really talk about how to put that golden thread through all of the modalities, like I mentioned, but I wanted to give you guys an example of incorporating them right into the session and not keeping them separate, even for now, for those of you who are, are not moving on to level 2 at this point. So, any other questions? That was beautiful. Thank you, ladies, so much. I know it wasn't exactly what we had planned, but I think it worked out really well.
I have a better understanding.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It makes more sense now. So thank you. And thank you for all these resources. I'll be sure to go back and
I think they're all on one page. So as long as you can find the one page, and I'll put them in the email I send to you tomorrow too, which it's already in there.
Perfect.
Or not these, but I'll put the link in there because I want you guys to get used to going to this link, because as I grow the library, more things will be in here. So instead of having to email you every single time I add to it, if you just bookmark this link and visit it every so often, you'll be able to see all the new resources that are in there. And you'll have access to it for, life.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
I'm just excited to go practice now.
Good. Good. And I'm here if you need anything. I still will be sending an email. It's going to have a couple questions, a couple minor assignments, I guess you can say, or a final assignment that I will be needing a response from everyone. And it's just, it's a couple questions, nothing like super crazy, no test, but just getting your feedback about some things, getting your mailing address for the certificates, and just gathering some good feedback from you guys. Also, if you 100% want to record a session or meet with me one-on-one, if you have any questions or difficulties that you're having. Sorry, he's naked, so I'm going to try and block his little being from being in the camera here. But yeah, so you'll have links to either schedule time with me, or you could send a recording and I'll give you guys feedback based on, the recording, give you some suggestions or different ways that, you could do things. And yeah, that's it. So next week, and I'll probably be, this will be in the email as well. Next week, we can, what are you doing? Next week will be an optional class. So if you guys want to just come after you're practicing, after you're doing this assignment, if you have any further questions or you just want to connect with each other one last time and kind of share your results and stuff with each other, we will be having an open forum kind of session. So it's not required. If you don't attend or watch the replay, it's not like you won't get your certificates, but it's going to be open for you guys. All right.
More open forum next week.
Nicole,
Yes.
you said you had an update to the manual. So rather than just reprinting the whole manual, were there specific pages that we should look for to just print out?
Yeah, let me bring it up here.
The tapping I noticed was different.
Nicole,
So, yes.
this is Dale. On your womb light manual, the one that is for the practitioner, and then there's one that's for the client. There's two different ones, right?
What part?
What?
No, there's only a practitioner one.
No, but there's a client one that you just printed or that you just made, and
The practices?
Is she talking about the intake?
No. Isn't there 2 new manuals that you just created? One is for us and one is for the client.
No, nothing for the client.
Nothing that the client gets?
No.
Wait a minute.
So Donna, just back to your question quickly. The updates are more in the modalities. So we added in the Peace and PowerPoints page.
Yeah. That was new.
And then I condensed the pranayama and the yoga connection page. So that's the same stuff is there, but just different layout. And then I added in the practice scenarios and the session outlines right into the manual. So that they're separate, but they're also all included.
So basically all those separate downloads that,
Yeah, I just, for future, classes, the manual is just gonna have everything up front, whereas you guys, obviously, I printed the manuals or created them before we even started with classes. So as I've added things, I've created these separate documents, but also included them so that they're all in one place.
Nicole, I was talking about the workbook and the planner. I'm sorry. So
Oh, yeah, those are completely different.
I understand.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question though?
Yeah, for sure. I just was confused because I was like, wait, there's nothing for the client.
I was calling it wrong. So the workbook is for us, but the planner is for the client, right? But wouldn't we need to have our own planner so that if the person who bought the planner, we would need to be able to know if they have a question on what page that they have a question. So we kind of need both, right?
Well, if
We
you
should
got
have our own copies, right?
if you get the full planner or the Bump and Beyond planner, that has everything, so you wouldn't need to get both.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So what is the other one?
If the workbook is like no calendar layouts, it's just the articles and the birth plans and things like that. So
What's the other one? The full one?
the full is for the full 4 trimesters. So like if you just found out, client was just pregnant, that would be carry them throughout the entire pregnancy. The Bump and Beyond is only your 3rd and 4th trimester. So if, a client is coming to you and they're 28 weeks pregnant, that they're not getting 2 full or 6 full months of planning page, calendar layouts that they don't need. Because that time has already passed,
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying, don't you need one of each for yourself, for your personal self, so that you can know what each one, provides?
If I were you, if you got the full version or even the Bump and Beyond, you would be able to see everything that's in there.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to see all the layouts and how we have that planned, I would say the Bump and Beyond version is perfectly fine for that. Okay.
As opposed to the full.
Yeah, because unless you're using it as a planner for yourself, it's just a lot of extra pages.
Okay. Okay.
Alrighty. Any other questions? And she was referring to the Mamamorphosis planners that we just launched this week. So that's why everyone was like, wait, where it has nothing to do with women.
I was like, oh, the planner. Okay.
Yeah. Which I have right here. Where is it?
Oh, you finally got it. Yay.
Oh, it's pretty.
It's so pretty.
That's pretty.
I'm gonna definitely recommend it to my clients. Like I'll figure out a way to share it, but I don't think I'm.
Which one
Nice.
is which one is that?
This is just the workbook. So again, this is just all the content because I don't need the planner, right? Like I'm not pregnant, so I just ordered one for myself. And it's got all the content. And the birth plan, there's a full like birth plan like info, but then they also have space to then write their own. Bye, Lori.
How much is that one?
This is 24 on Amazon.
Okay.
And this one's actually tiny. We when I ordered it, we realized that the workbook should be bigger, so it'll actually be, where is it? It'll be this size.
Uh-huh.
If you can see the difference. So they'll have
Wow.
more room to write.
Right.
Is there an option of purchasing wholesale ones, Nicole? Like, say if I wanted to have like 10 in studio for my maternity clients, because they usually.
Yeah. So I have a bulk coupon code that I can send you if you wanted to order. It's like 20 or 25% off.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd want to, like, I don't see clients until they're super pregnant, so
Yeah.
it would be more for prepping for birth and then after. But
yeah, I would say the workbooks would be good for you because I mean the Bump and Beyond planner has the baby tracking layouts for postpartum, so your full 4th trimester. So that might be beneficial if they come to you super pregnant, because then they're only, you know, not using 1 trimester of planning pages, but they'll still definitely have some weeks in there. But they'll still get the full 4th trimester, whereas the workbook has all of the content, just none of the calendar layouts.
Okay. I'll look at the options. I saw that they're on Amazon now, so I'll
Yep.
figure it out and let you know.
All right. But yeah, if you want the bulk orders, just let me know because we'll have to go through our supplier for that.
Cool.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And keep an eye out for your email tomorrow. And remember to check your notification settings on the Facebook group so that you can get all of that good info.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.